With its absurd, bizarre, and the out-of-the-box humor, South Park has completed its 2 decades and is still on the run. South Park is an adult animated sitcom written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone. The show's main plot revolves around the lives of 4 disdainful and dysfunctional students, Kyle, Kenny, Stan, and Cartman. The sitcom trails nearly next to The Simpsons and The Family Guy. The productive humor and tone of the show have ensured its prolonged success. It provides both sides equal stances to have acceptance for the message delivered by each episode. It reflects the socio-political issues and their theories with moderation in a cartoonist's way. This video will explore how real and relatable the characters on the show have been. How did the creators come up with a character like Eric Cartman? The 4 kids in the show reflect different sections of society. Stan belongs to a middle-class section with moderate political views, precisely the way a middle-class person would go around by staying out of the trouble and minding their own business. Stan does it too. He portrays the majority. Kenny belongs to the lower class and usually agrees with everything Stan says. Politics, ideologies, and stuff mean very little to him. On the other hand, Cartman reflects the manipulative group of people belonging to the political class that believes in bombarding others with their views. He represents the right-wing believers of the society. Kyle is just the opposite of Cartman, who is desperate to be seen as the one devoted to helping others, when in reality things actually end up getting worse, representing the idiocies of the left wing. The show is more of a mirror for the society. It reflects precisely how society functions, where the right and left wings are getting more extreme day by day. Like every other emotion, humor has its roots and backstories. Similarly, Parker and Stone have their life experiences to neatly sketch inspirations from their real life and convert them into a show's character. Guess what? Stan and Kyle in the show are representative of Parker and Stone's ideologies. The characters in the show cannot seem to find a stance for themselves and are subsequently caught in most of the fights in the town. On the contrary, people like Cartman sway their way out just like the charismatic manipulators they are. The writers have said that Eric Cartman speaks for the worst of society. He is one of those characters who say the most intrusive and rebellious thoughts out loud that one can ever think. Unlike Eric, the rest of us never act upon our invasiveness to maintain some level of decency. Nevertheless, Trey and Matt drew his arc from a person. Matt Cartman inspired R. Cartman. Matt was a mutual friend of the writers. He was a perfect inspiration, as the writers disclosed how good he was at giving humiliating comebacks. However, initially, it was not a real person, but a replica of Archie Bunker from All in the Family. The writers loved and wanted to use the troubled character with incorrect political views. Sketching Eric's arc for their show was the best way. However, the character is a partial reflection of what Matt is. In the episode Scott Tenorman Must Die, Cartman, feeling frauded by Scott because of some $16 amount, executes a plan to humiliate Scott brutally. He puts Scott to shame in front of his favorite band, Radiohead. He even employs him into eating his dead parents. The episode illustrated how Eric never backed down from aligning himself with the extremes. Ironically, fans positioned this sociopathic side of Eric as one of the greatest moments in the show. Later, we learned that Scott's father, Jack Tenorman, was Eric's father too, so the murderer turned to patricide. The writers even argued if the episode was too much for the audience to take in, but they wanted to show what lengths Eric would go to. To our surprise, Trey and Matt have accepted that Eric is their favorite character. Matt and Archie Bunker somewhat inspire Eric partially. Look out! Kenny's character also had an interesting inspiration source. Kenny's story arc is directly based on a real person. During an interview, the writers revealed that Kenny was one of their best friends of Parker, and they resided in the same town. Parker had grown up with Kenny. Kenny's character is authentic. He wears an orange parka that conceals his face, and is one of the poorest kids. Unlike Kenny, the real-life person does not die miraculously in every episode and returns to life. Sounds bizarre, right? Well, that's South Park. Trey also disclosed how back in their days, their friend Kenny used to wait at the bus stop with an orange coat. Kenny always said strange and unusual things none of them ever understood. The tradition of mysteriously killing Kenny also came from real-life experiences. The real-life Kenny would occasionally disappear without any closure and prior information given, only to return some time later. However, the killing of Kenny in the show stopped after season 6. Kenny was one of the most unprivileged kids. Hence, the writers have experimented by taking his misfortune and ill luck to the edge of of the world in the show by killing him repeatedly in the most unexplainable ways. Kenny, in the sitcom, possessed a superpower which was immortality. He becomes irritated that his friends do not notice him dying, and he goes on a pursuit to find out where his powers come from. Little did we know that real-life people could be interesting and hilarious enough to allow a few of the most iconic and funny characters to be shaped. South Park depicts how there are intriguing personalities living among us for whom we would love or laugh our lungs out had they been on screen. Exploring all the real-life inspirations behind the other major South Park characters. The writers have talked about how most of the characters in South Park are inspired by real life. They have given a whole new form to their experiences and adventures while growing up in Colorado. They made sure that the world saw the fascinating personality traits in their life in the most creative way. Mr. Mackey, who plays the role of a counselor in South Park School, is also drawn from an actual person. The co-creator, Trey Parker, voices him. In one of the interviews, Trey revealed that he had a counselor in his school life, Mr. Lackey. It was his individuality that gave us Mr. Mackey on screen. There is one more character that stems from Trey's real-life experiences, Mr. Hanky, who is shown as the Christmas Pooh in the show. The backstory of this character is, hands down, really hilarious. When Trey was a kid, he often forgot to flush the toilet. His dad was exhausted from walking into the same mess again and again. He told Trey if his habit did not change and he forgot to flush the toilet seat again, the poo would come and swallow him. Trey has legit siphoned his story into a good-humored piece of feces in the show. In addition to so many real-life inspirations, Butterscotch is another essential character. His story arc was drawn from Eric Stowe. Eric Stowe is the animation director for the show. He got his name Butters because Trey and Matt called him Little Buddy throughout the production for 3 years. The sitcom is currently in its 26th season and has kept its viewers intact with its entertaining writing style that hits right at the spot. The best thing that the writers have done is they covered all the deep-rooted issues from politics, religion, class, nationality, the queer community, and race to skin color very seriously. All the serious talks have been done most funnily. A perfect balance has been maintained through the show, while throwing comments here and there about society's negligence towards these issues. It'll be correct to assume that the show might bring more characters that real-life experiences or personalities have inspired. And if you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.